Hey there, how's it going, everybody? This is Tim from For All Mankind, and I am making this video to talk about how my journey through The Last of Us went and affected me. I guess I could say kind of personally. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Look, this video is completely unscripted. It is unrehearsed in any way. I was talking to Trevor about how I really needed to talk about this game and I couldn't with anybody because all my friends haven't beat it yet, right? So I'm just here sitting with my thoughts, and I think the best way for me to do that is just to talk aloud about them and share them with whoever out there wants to hear them. So, and look, so because it's not scripted, it's not rehearsed, it's not probably going to be perfect. I may miss some things that, by all means, please talk about in the comment section below. Tell me, and if I forgot something or something important or anything, even if your thoughts completely disagree with mine, agree with mine, like I just want to talk about it. That's realistically what I want to do. I want to talk about this game and this journey that I went on, that Naughty Dog has made. Um, so, for starters, I guess I was a big fan of the first one. It was easily my favorite single player game that I've ever played. Right, I'm a big Resident Evil fan. For those of you who know me, Resident Evil is like my favorite game series. But as far as a single story game, like one game with one story, The Last of Us has been my favorite ever since I played it. The game just, the emotional ties you get to the characters, the story itself was phenomenal. So I knew this game was going to be good, but I a lot of times you have those sequels, right? And those sequels to a game that was so good never really live up to it. Not that they're bad, but they don't live up to it. This was not that. This was it was it was a journey. It was very deep, and I have so many thoughts running through my head. I mean, like so many things. So I'm just going to start into it, and I guess I'm going to try to keep this in chronological order as best I can. But I don't know. I'm just going to talk about it out loud and see what happens. So clearly spoilers. If you haven't played the game, please do not watch this game. Do not do that to yourself. Please go play the game. Or if you don't want to play it, watch someone play it. That's perfectly fine. Like, I don't blame you. It took me 23 hours to get through it. So if it's easier for you just to watch a playthrough of it, that's not that big of a problem. That's one of the best things about the series. Even the first one, you could watch someone play it and still get impacted by it pretty much the same. That's how good of a story that is in this game. So you start off playing as Joel, I'm pretty sure, and it's a very, very short sequence. You basically just walk into the house where Ellie is, right? And Ellie's just sitting there, and you got a guitar, and you start playing this guitar, and you give it to her, and you tell her you're going to give her some lessons, and like she's like lessons start, and that was really cool to me because Joel was everyone that loves Ellie, including myself. Ellie is phenomenal, but the connection that Joel had to Ellie, the things that Ellie and him went through together, watching them grow from these people who hated, not hated, hate is a strong word, but they didn't care for each other, right? They were there to get the job done and call it a day, and to watch their relationship grow into way more than that. I mean, they were, by the end of the game, especially Joel cared so much for her that he did some terrible things to make sure she stayed alive, and he was not willing to let her die for the cause of a cure. He's like he no, you will not kill her for a chance at a cause or for a chance of a cure. Because number one, it was always just a chance. Maybe it was a good chance, but it was a chance, and he was not willing to let that happen. That's how much he cared for her. At the beginning of the game, he probably wouldn't have given a damn, like realistically speaking. But they went on this long journey together, so that's what happened, right? So you start this game, and immediately, like I already feel that connection again, right? Even though it's been 4 years since I've played it through, I already felt that connection right off the rip, right from that one small cutscene. So skip to 4 years later. Ellie goes out, and she's talking about having that kiss with Dina, and you know what? I'm happy it wasn't subtle. I was very happy it wasn't like a subtle, let's kind of sneak this in there. No, I mean it was, and that's good. It should be. I mean that's how she feels, and that's good. And you got that from the trailers, that she really cared for Dina. So I'm happy like it wasn't something that almost was like a surprise, because we knew it wasn't a surprise. So I'm really happy the route they went there. So that was really cool. You go out on these routes with her, right? So her, go out on these routes together to kind of like just make sure everything's okay, and you wind up doing okay, going through some places. And then you skip to playing as a person named Abby. Now, what was weird is when it skipped that, which, by the way, I don't remember if I said that. I'm pretty sure I did, but you skipped after the guitar thing. You did skip 4 years, so you skipped to playing with Abby, and I didn't know who that was. Honestly, when I first saw her, I was like, that's not Ellie?" Because I mean, she was built, as someone in the game says, like an ox. Like, that girl's, I nope. Like, wow, she was built. And as you're playing with her, you go and you wind up playing with her a little bit. You wind up getting to, like, they see where, like, I forgot the name of the city, but where Ellie and Joel and Tommy are all hanging out, right? And you sit there and you see, and she says he's there, and as a player, and I'm assuming most people knew who they were talking about when they said you knew who they were talking about, right? So my first thought, and I'm not joking, my first thought was these have to be people that have to do with the Fireflies and the hospital incident. Because if the way they were saying it, their demeanor about saying it, they were clearly looking, in my opinion, for Joel. I would have been surprised if it wasn't, honestly. And the only reason anybody would be looking for Joel that I could think of was because of what he did at the hospital, which, for those of you who don't know, at the hospital in the last game, he slaughtered a bunch of people, killed a bunch of people to save Ellie's life because they were going to kill her on the table and he wasn't having it. So he killed a bunch of people to save her life, got her off, and got out. So that was my first thought process, is that's what that was about. So kind of fast forwarding a little bit, because I'm not here to talk about gameplay. I'm here to talk about the story. You're playing as this person who eventually winds up running into Joel because she's running for her life from a bunch of infected. And I'm talking a bunch of infected. The whole process of this part of the game is just running, and you find out, and you in defending yourself, and you're doing it with Joel and Tommy, because Joel and Tommy went on their own runs. And you do that, and you wind up being secure, and you go back because they have a whole group with them, Abby and her friends. Abby went out alone, her friends stayed back. Well, eventually Abby leads them back to their friends, and right away they go into the room. They say, "Hey, I'm Joel, this is my brother Tommy." And I mean, for one of my buddies, Trevor, mentioned to me that, for someone who doesn't trust anything, it was really weird to say that, but I don't know. I mean, he just saved a girl's life. I guess you wouldn't think that, but maybe it is what it is. It happened, maybe he just didn't care at that point anymore. Instantly, dude, Abby, the person you're playing as, shoots Joel in the leg. And right there, I knew it was bad, because it wasn't just a simple shot. He's going to get up from this. I mean, there was a chunk of his leg missing. Like, you can see that leg's done. He's not moving from there anymore. Tommy gets knocked out, but that leg, and then Joel's in trouble. They tie him up, and she says, you don't get to rush this. So it was bad, and you knew it was going to be bad. Skip to playing as Ellie. You wind up getting to the cabin, and sure enough, Ellie hears him screaming, runs in, gets captured herself, and Ellie's lying on the ground. And you're just, you as the player, you as Ellie, just have to watch as Abby takes a golf club, and you can tell she's been hitting him with it several times. And one last, and again, she's an ox. One last hit, boom. Joel is dead. One of my favorite characters in any video game is gone and no more. And the sound effects that they have during the scene, I mean, you really feel the moment, because Ellie's screaming out, "I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you." And that's all I could think about. Like, at that time, 100%, I'm going to kill you. I cannot wait to take my hands and just drain the life. You just killed one of the, it's hard to say hero, right? But I feel like he is in his own right. Like, yes, he did some bad things. I'm not going to take that away from him. And he did potentially stop a cure, but he cared so much. And he did it out of, like, the love of someone that he basically grew with in a long journey. I get it, but, like, for the player, for someone who played with him through the first game, that was devastating. I wanted nothing more than to get up as Ellie and just slaughter the whole room. I'm be dead honest with you. That's what I wanted to do. So you jump a few days later, because they let Ellie and Tommy live. Tommy tries to stop Ellie from getting revenge, or not stop, but kind of talk her out of it. Ellie's not having it. I'm going with or without you. I don't care. I'm doing this. What would Joel do? If it was one of us, what would Joel do? 100% same concept. So you see a lot of Joel in Ellie, in my opinion, in this game. A lot. Like, a lot. Throughout the whole game, I'm thinking this is, like, that's what it is. So you wind up going, and Dina wants to come with you. Dina's not letting you do this alone. So you wind up going there with Dina, and you wind up going to what winds up being Seattle, right? Now, before this, you actually find out that Tommy left without you. Tommy left without you, told his wife to try to convince you not to go, or he even said in his letter to keep you captive, right? Don't let Ellie go, more or less. I'm going to handle this. Don't let her go. Because almost nobody knows that she's immune. Even Dina doesn't know she's immune. The only people that know she's immune was Joel, Tommy's wife, and I'm sorry, I forgot Tommy's wife's name. So that's what's happening, right? So skipping, I'm going to skip a lot of this part because it's very simple revenge stuff, right? So you as Ellie are going through and you're just trying to track down. You're trying to track down this girl. You don't know her name. As Ellie, you don't know her name. But again, it's Abby. So you're going around. And you wind up in the room where Joel died, where like 5 or 6 people, her friends, Abby's friends, are with her when they kill Joel, because they went out there together to kill Joel. So it's almost like a hunting party to go find Abby primarily, but if you got to get information out of the others, you got to get information out of the others. So you go and you do, you find a couple of them. I mean, the first 2 you find are already dead, and then it's because of Tommy. Tommy already took care of them, and Tommy used this technique that they learned and that they used to interrogate by separating the 2, telling them both to point out where they need to go next, and if their stories don't match, you know, I mean, that's what that does. If your stories don't match, I'm going to kill you both. It's kind of what's happening. So they find them, and that goes through, and Ellie finds all that, and you keep going through. And again, that's like basically the first half of the game is going through, finding her friends, and you wind up killing. I can't think of her name, but she's like the medic. Not the medic, but she's at the hospital. And you wind up finding her alive, and you chase her down. And you wind up jumping to like the bottom of this hospital, and there's spores everywhere. She doesn't have a mask on. You don't have a mask on. Well, you're immune from it, so you don't care. You chase her down, and you don't. I don't know how it is. You don't necessarily torture her, but you do, like you yourself don't as Ellie, but because you're Ellie, but you tell her, because she's dying, she's infected. She went down there without a mask. She's infected. She knows she's dead. You go down there and you're telling her that you need to know where Abby is. Tell me where Abby's at right now, because if you don't, she's like, I can make your death quick if you do, and if you don't, I can make it hurt a hell of a lot more. So she refuses, and basically what you see as the player is you hit her, and that's it, right? Well, you wind up going back to this theater. You kind of hold up in this theater with Dina's at, and you leave Dina behind because you find out that Dina's pregnant. So Dina's pregnant this whole time by a dude named Jesse, and Jesse's a really cool guy, by the way. Like, as you meet him, he's a really cool guy. I'm not gonna lie, I completely was waiting for him to turn on us. I don't know why, but I'm like, this dude's gonna turn. He's like one of them. He's a bad guy, you know, because you just don't trust anybody. But no, he was really cool. And you go through that. So she's pregnant, so she's not going with you. That's why she doesn't go with you on most of this, because she's pregnant. Well, when you go back, when you go back to the theater, all Ellie's in blood, covered in blood, and Dina is there, and you basically just tell Dina, I made her talk. So you know right there, Ellie had to do some crazy shit, had to do some really brutal Joel-esque shit to make her talk and get information. So you find out that she's at the aquarium, or that's where she was at the aquarium, right? So you go to the aquarium, and you meet Owen. I can't remember her name. This is the actual medic. I forget her name too. Well, Owen is the guy, and there's another pregnant lady. And you want them to point to the map. She's holding up a map, and you're just like, tell me where Abby's at. Tell me, because Abby's not there. So tell me where Abby's at. better point at the same damn place, otherwise you're dead. Again, that same tactic that Joel and Tommy use, right? She's doing it. And they just attack Ellie, and they try to attack her. Well, Ellie winds up stabbing the girl and shooting Owen. And as Owen's dying, because Ellie didn't know the lady was pregnant, as Owen's dying, Owen like points at her and says, I think he muttered the words pregnant, right? So he muttered the words pregnant, and she unbuttons her jacket. Ellie unbuttons her jacket to find out that she was pregnant. So you just killed a pregnant woman. Now, granted, I guess it was out of self-defense, but like still, you killed a pregnant woman when when your lover essentially is pregnant as well. Your girlfriend is pregnant. So you're sitting there like, oh God, I just killed a pregnant woman, right? So there's that. So this whole time, I wanted nothing to do. I wanted nothing more than to run and just find Abby and kill her. I mean, that was my goal throughout this whole game. I didn't care what was happening. I have this rage fueled inside me, and then just like Ellie, to just go and kill Abby. I need to get revenge for Joel. I need to go and kill this woman. I need to go. Well, when you're in the aquarium, Tommy winds up, because you're freaking out because you just killed a pregnant person, right? So Tommy winds up showing up. You try to go to find Tommy too. Like that's kind of half the thing because he went by himself. But Tommy shows up. You go back to the theater, and you kind of get convinced, unfortunately, to leave Abby be. Her friends deserve to die. Leave, and Ellie's like, so she gets to live, and Tommy's like, are you okay with that? And Ellie more or less is just like, I don't know if it's so much a yes as much as a I gotta be kind of thing, because they said that they're going back because Dina's pregnant. They need to go back to the settlement, right? So Ellie is like, okay, you know what? Okay, Dina's pregnant. She just killed a pregnant lady. She's killed a lot of Abby's friends. Let's just go back to the settlement for Dina. Pause game. Game skips back in time, which, by the way, there is a scene during the Ellie playthrough. It was easily probably my favorite cutscene in the whole game, is when you and Joel are going through this museum. Is a dinosaur museum. Joel found it for her birthday, and the interaction between the two talking, because she's trying to guess what Joel found for her, right? Joel's like, I got a surprise for you, and Ellie keeps trying to guess what it is. And what's funny is one of the first things she asks is it a dinosaur? And this was 4 years ago, before all this. Is it a dinosaur? And he just kind of chuckles, and she keeps guessing. Well, it winds up being a dinosaur museum, and she sees a T-Rex. She's like, oh, it is a dinosaur. It was just amazing. And watching her interaction through this museum, it was dinosaurs in space, and they go in this space capsule, and Joel found this tape for her to listen to while she's in the space capsule. And it's a cassette of, NASA, a launch essentially at NASA, and she gets to sit in there, and Joel tells her to close her eyes. She's just sitting. It was something absolutely emotional, feeling, magical. I don't know what the word. I was smiling the entire way through, mostly because of their interaction, but and I got to see Joel again. I got to see why I fell in love with those characters again, right? Because this whole time you're playing as a very, very, very angry Ellie, because you're angry. The whole thing's anger inbound, like that's what it is. You want revenge, so it was really a nice change of pace to play in this more peaceful sense, this more peaceful environment. There are a few more like cutscenes where they go back in time, and I'll get to more of those. But like that one in particular, really, like, it just made me feel so good knowing. And then you jump back into this hatred-filled, revenge-filled character, including yourself, because that moment I don't want to say got taken away from you, but you lost someone from that moment, someone huge. So there's that. There was also another really crucial cutscene where Joel finally tells, like, Ellie finds a tape. Joel told Ellie that there are lots of people who are dozens. I think he used the word dozens of people who are immune. So Ellie was kind of okay with her not being taken, or her losing her purpose, because her whole thought was, I have a purpose, and that purpose is to be the cure. Joel wasn't having it. So she felt like her purpose was taken away. So he told her that there were dozens of people that were immune, so she shouldn't have to worry about it. Well, she finds a tape and she plays it back. She plays it back several times because in the tape is again another flashback. It states that basically Ellie is the only one. Ellie is the only one that anyone's ever found that is immune. So she knows, and I think she always knew that Joel wasn't telling the full truth, even from the end of the first game. So you find this tape, and you're listening to it, and you as a player, you know what's coming. And she tells Joel, and she says, Joel, don't lie to me anymore. She says, tell me the truth. If you lie to me one more time, I'm gone, and I am gone forever. You will never see me again. But if you tell me the truth, I will go back to the settlement. So Joel just kind of sighs and essentially tells her that they were going to kill you. And I didn't want them to kill you. So he tells her what happened, and she's still going to go back to the settlement, but she said that they are done. Ellie and Joel are done. Ellie is not having Joel shit anymore. No, he took that over. They're done. She will go back there for them, not for him. So that's, as the player, the last memory you see of those two. So you as the player, my mindset, is the last real interaction other than the last real interaction. Because remember, the guitar thing was like 4 years ago. That was like a couple. So that's the last memory we see. And so you're like, the last interaction those two had, she hated him, more or less, disowned him. But clearly, I mean, she still cared for him because of, you're doing this for Joel. You're literally on this quest to kill Abby to get your revenge for Joel, right? So that's another big cutscene. Jump into the second half of the game. You're playing as a very, I don't want to say very young, 4 or 5 years ago, Abby. Which at that point I thought was very cruel. I thought it was very cruel to begin with to play as a character at the beginning of the game that kills Joel. You played as somebody who killed essentially like one of my favorite characters of any video game. Like I felt almost responsible because I was playing. I could have just ran Abby off a cliff, that kind of thing. So now all of a sudden the game shifts and you're playing as a younger Abby, right? And I shit you not, that exact moment when I was playing as a young Abby, I was like, oh no, because I knew what was about to happen. I knew, and I'm sure many people, and I don't think it was something that was supposed to be hidden. I don't think it was anything that was supposed to be a surprise. I'm pretty sure most people who got to this scene knew exactly what was about to happen, and as sure as shit, it did, and it hit fucking hard, because you play as a young Abby, and you go and meet up with your dad. And your dad's a doctor, super nice guy. And you're going there and you're just playing. It's the same connection almost as Joel and Ellie. You're playing as a young girl who is with her dad, and they're just doing small things together, interacting with each other. The interaction between them it's the same concept. And there's a zebra stuck. And you help get the zebra out because you're good people, right? You're helping the zebra got stuck in some barbed wire, so you're helping the zebra out. And you get the zebra unstuck, and you're sitting there, and I'm not joking. As the player, I'm sitting down on my couch, furious. My face is stone. Like, I'm so mad because she's just a girl with her dad, and I hate her. I hate her so much because of what she did. But I'm playing as her, and I can't help but smile here and there because it's the same. And you go through and you play. And you go through that scene, and you go through, and they the end of that cutscene is hey, we found the girl. We found, yeah, some guy dropped her off at the hospital. We found her. It's her. She's immune, and sure as shit, it's Ellie. The guy your dad, Abby's dad. You skip to another cutscene, and Abby's dad's in there talking to the main lady. The main Firefly lady you talked to in the first one. I can't remember her name, but the main lady, in the hospital before Joel goes all crazy, and he's sitting there, and he's like, she has to die for us to have a chance to get to this cure. This girl has to die. The girl being Ellie. She has to die. And he's talking to the Firefly lady, and she's almost against it. And he's like, he doesn't want to do it, but he needs reassurance that it's a good thing to do, right? He needs reassurance that this is the right move, that she has to die for millions to survive. Because he knows he has to do it, but you can see he doesn't want to do it, but he knows he has to do it. So he's trying to get that reassurance from her. Well, the Firefly lady winds up leaving, agreeing with him, and she's like, "Look, I'm gonna go tell Joel. Joel traveled here with her all across the country to get her here. He has the right to know." So she leaves. Abby comes in. Young Abby comes in, and basically tells him, like, "Look, if it was me, I would want you to do the surgery. If it was me, I would want you to kill me so they could live." Like, tells him that. Skip a little bit ahead, and it's you, Abby, and you're running in the hospital. The sirens are going off. Shit went down. So essentially at this point, Joel's whole slaughtering brigade, I guess, happened, right? Joel already ran through the hospital, killed who he had to kill, got Ellie out, and got out. So Abby enter Abby running through the hospital. And you just see your dad, this super kind doctor who helped a zebra out. They did that on purpose. Who helped a zebra out to survive because the zebra just had a child, is dead. Because in your mind, in Abby's mind, a madman came through here, killed all these people to take the cure away, to take the girl away. A crazy guy, because you have to look at it from her perspective, and that was the whole point of this whole like second half of the game. Is we're gonna show you that if there was ever a game that was about showing you how much perspective matters, how much seeing it through the other person's eyes matters, damn it if it's not this game. Because I hated her so much. And I wanted nothing more than to just, oh my God, what she did to Joel. It was so bad. So you're young Abby, you run in there, you see your dad dead. Skip 4 years, skip to Seattle day one. You are a fucking ox. Like you met up with, even before Seattle day one, you have a couple, like 3 years later, you meet up and you get to know Owen. You get to know all your friends. They're just people. They're good people defending themselves, surviving, doing the best they can. There's this guy named Isaacs who's in charge of the Wolves, by the way. That's what their squad is called, is the Wolves. Their faction is the Wolves. He's a little nutty. I'm not a fan of Isaac, but like you're just people. You're surviving. You have these friends. You have family. You're all right there, and you're playing as her, walking around, talking to him, getting these connections with people, talking to Owen. Like you have a real strong connection with Owen. You and Owen actually were dating for a while. You wound up breaking up, and he wound up dating the medic. Mia. That doesn't sound right. I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm really bad with names. But you're playing, and the whole point of this second half, the whole point is to show you that there's another perspective. You are rage induced the whole first half of this game because you want nothing more than to kill Abby. And they make you play as Abby the whole second half to show you why she did what she did. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. That's one of my favorite things I think about this game. is you are more than welcome to think that she's a terrible person for what she did, because trust me, I feel it. I understand. Um, and I'm sitting there on my couch and I'm playing this whole second half, because again, you play Seattle day 1, Seattle day 2. You basically play the same 2 or 3 days as Abby as you did for Ellie, right? So Ellie had day 1, day 2, day 3. Same with Abby, day 1, day 2, day 3. And you're playing as Abby. And you go through and you literally make these connections. You know how good Naughty Dog is at making you like feel these connections. Like they're not just in the game. You feel them. Like you are living these connections with these people, and you care for Owen, because Owen just wants the Fireflies back, because the Fireflies are gone. They've disbanded, but he is looking for them. He wants them back. He's in hopes that they would come back, right? So he's kind of keeping tabs on that whole thing. He winds up like taking over this whole aquarium thing. There's this whole really neat interaction between you and him in the aquarium. And it was just super. It was super hard because I wanted to hate her so much, but as you play her, I couldn't hate her as much. I still wanted her to pay for what she did to Joel. I did the whole time, but I was just like, I wasn't hate. The more I played, the more I don't want to say the more I forgot about what she did to Joel, because I never did, but the more like I was her. I was focused on her, because you wind up helping these 2 kids that are part of the third. I'm really bad at pronouncing their actual name. They're like, it starts with like an S, Sephrite or something like that. So, but they go by scars because they have these scars on their faces, right? And you go through and you save these 2 kids because they saved you. You're about to be killed by their own clan. Their own Scars clan is about to kill you. Well, they are like renegades. These 2 kids are renegades from their own squad. Come because oh my god, I forgot his name. Because it's not Lily. Lev. His sister, they're young too, got caught. So Lev comes and kills the people who are about to hang you and gut you, because they're very savage people. They actually saved your life. And keep in mind, the wolves and the Scars have been battling for a while. So to be saved by Scars is a whole thing in itself. So you wind up helping them, and you get them somewhere secure, because her arm is messed up. The girl, his sister, Lev's sister, the one that helped you, it got like smashed in with a hammer. Messed up arm, completely messed up. So you find a secure place and you leave, because you need to go back. You need to go back to find Owen. You're going to the aquarium to find Owen, because Owen was on a search party and something happened between Owen and this other guy. And Isaac thinks, or the guy apparently said that Owen shot him. So Isaac's not trying to find Owen because he thinks he's a renegade. So either way, you wind up at the aquarium, you go find him. So skipping, a lot of this is unnecessary detail, but the point is, you freaking feel this connection. You go and you help these kids. The kids want to go to their mom. Lev wants to go try to talk their mom into leaving with them, because Owen wants to go to this place in Southern California, because there's talk of Fireflies being there, right? So there's talk of Fireflies being there. So Lev wants to go there and do these things, or not Lev, Owen, and they asked the kids if they wanted to go. So the sister was all for it. Lev was not for it because of their mom. So Lev goes back to the island where the Scars are, where they're supposed to stay, because there's this whole truce between the wolves and the Scars, where the Scars need to stay on their island. Well, that truce gets broken. So they wind up having this just giant war, essentially, right? So Abby, and the sister's arm, who is now no longer, it got amputated because the Owen and the girl, he got pregnant. The medic fixed up her arm, right? And took her arm, had to take off her arm, but you wound up going to go get these supplies to make sure she would live. So then you do all that. So you go to this island, and keep in mind, this is over the span of like 8 hours. So this is a giant, not real life, not in-game 8 hours, real life 8 hours. So I'm sitting here playing this for like 8 hours, and that's a long time in game. Go to the island, catches on fire, because a bunch of just the war starts, and Lev's sister dies. You're running. Lev's sister gets caught, and let me tell you, a lot of these deaths, like that. I'm not even joking. That's how a lot of these go. That it's just out of nowhere death of a good main character. One of Abby's good friends. One of Abby's good friends that you learn who they are playing as her. Seems like a super cool guy. He's funny. He's witty. He helps out the community. He helps out Abby a lot. Just a genuinely good person. You are chasing down Tommy because you don't know it's Tommy because you're as Abby, but you the player know it's Tommy because he's sniping, and you got him trapped in this room, and you go to get in, and it boom gets shot in the head. This guy that is one of Abby's good friends, instant shot, no dramatic moment, boom, shot in the head, and it hits you. Even though you hate these people in this game, but it hurts to still because the perspective. So you go to this island. You and Lev are the only people to make it out of the between because Lev's mom apparently just went crazy on Lev because Lev's mom is their mom is not about leaving. Their mom's all about this religion this cult that they've built up with the scars, and she is not about it. And I assume she was going to wind up killing Lev. Lev had to kill her. Lev had to kill his mother because Lev's mom was going to probably kill her. So you go in, you find Lev because Lev took off. You go in, you find Lev, and Lev. And I might have not mentioned that Lev took off to this island to find mom and talk to mom. Without the other two, without the sister and without Abby. He just went off on a boat by himself. So you wind up finding Lev in a thing burning down with his mom is dead, and he's like in a corner, like kind of cradled up and you would assume he did it, right? So that's another big moment. And so you wind up going, and Lev's sister dies like that, a kid, like that, and it makes sense. I get it. It's what would happen. I'm not even mad. I'm not saying any of this should be done a different way. Actually, not at all. I don't think anything that happened in this game should be done a different way. Like, even the enemy callouts. When you're killing enemies, the enemies will say the name of somebody. Like Mark or whatever. And they even go to as far as, like, saying, like, man, they just finished such and such. Like, they just finished school. So, like, you're killing these people, and then the other enemies around, like, while you're playing, are saying the names of these people. So it's like this person you just killed has a name. This person you just killed has done something with their life or doing something. It's a life. It's not just a person. It's not just an NPC. It's a life. And you're taking that. And it's a trip, man. Like, so you get done. You and Lev go back. Okay. And keep in mind, one of the neat things is, so they have this dog, when Owen took over the aquarium early on, they have this dog, and you play fetch with the dog, you build this connection with this dog, and you're just having fun time with this dog. You play fetch with it, you teach the sister of Lev's sister to play with the dog and fetch and pet the dog and everything. It was super cute and adorable. You leave the island, you go back to the aquarium on day 3, Seattle day 3. You reach the aquarium right after Ellie and them left, and you as the player know what happened already. You know what's happening. You know, and that's almost the worst part of playing as Abby is you know what's already happened. You know when you're talking about your friends, when you're at Abby and you see bodies start rolling in, and it's your friends. You know who did it. You know it was it was Ellie. Ellie is responsible for this. I'm responsible for this. I'm responsible for the death of these people. I did that. But I did it for revenge purposes. I did it because you killed Joel. I did it to get back at you for killing Joel. But you did it to get back at Joel for killing your dad, for taking for taking away a chance at a cure. It's like it's a revenge for revenge. It's so well done. So you get back to the aquarium, and sure enough, the dog's dead. You had to shoot the dog as Ellie. The dog ran out the door and was trying to kill you. You had to kill the dog as Ellie. So the dog's dead, bleeding out. You walk in the room, and you had a real, I can't stress this enough. You had a very strong connection with Owen. You did cheat with Owen on the pregnant lady before you went back and saved the kids the first time, because you wound up going back to saving these kids, and because you woke up after having sex with Owen to the thought of you need to go save these kids because these kids still need you, because you wound up leaving them. This was a while back. I'm sorry, I know I skipped this part, but this was a while back. You went back and saved those kids, so you let them go. You left them because you thought they were okay, but then you wake up the next day and you're like, I gotta go back for them because the scars will kill them. The wolves will. They're not safe. They're kids, and no faction wants anything to do with them. They will die on sight to anybody. So you take it upon yourself to go back, and my camera's unfocused right now, and I don't know why, to go back and save them. Because no one else will, and no one else cares about them, and they're just kids, and they are going to die. So you bring them back, and all the stuff I told you about happens. And you go and you see Owen. You essentially one of the loves of your life that you've talked to, you've played, you've heard, you've been like the person, he's not a bad, they're not bad people. They killed Joel, but they're not bad people, and it's such a hard thing to, like, I guess, define bad. Like, so you are pissed as Abby, and you as the player know what the hell happens, because prior to the skip of starting to play as Abby, right before you're leaving, right before you're getting ready to leave back to the base as Ellie and as Tommy, you go and you hear a commotion out at the theater. You hear Tommy having a commotion. As you're playing as Ellie, you hear Tommy has a commotion. You start running out the door, and it's Abby. Abby has Tommy down on the ground with a gun pointed at him. Abby, because keep in mind, Abby let Tommy, and Ellie live. After the whole thing, at the very beginning of the game when she killed Joel, she let them live. They didn't come for them. They came for Joel. Joel's the one who killed her dad. Joel's the one who took away the chance at a cure. They came for Joel. So they didn't need to kill the other two. They let them live. It is very important. Because at this scene, Abby looks at you, points the gun, and tells you to get rid of your gun, so you do. Points the gun at you and says, "We let you live. You killed my friends," which she did. You did. You playing as Ellie, you did that. You killed my friends. We let you live, and you wasted it. That's when it cuts and you go play as Abby, right? So now, playing that scene out as Abby, because now you just found Owen and the other girl dead, the pregnant lady dead. You find a map that they left on accident, basically saying where they're at, so they know that they're at the theater. So that's how Abby knows that they're at the theater. So you go to the theater and you do the whole thing. You sneak in and replay cutscene, right? But now, reverse perspective. Instead of you being Ellie seeing all this happen, you are Abby making all of this happen, right? And shit goes down. Jesse gets shot like instantly. So Jesse again is Dina's baby's father. He is a cool guy. Throughout the whole game, he is a super cool guy, and he's dead like that. After hearing the commotion, you guys go out the theater doors, shot instantly in the head. There's no warning. There's no build up to it. Dead. So as Abby, you see the rest of it, right? Lev is with you. So you didn't get to see that when you're playing as Ellie in that perspective. But now playing it out as Abby, you see Lev is with you with a bow. Because she's about to shoot Tommy. Or not Tommy. She points her gun at you as Ellie, right? And when I'm playing as Abby, I'm pointing it at Ellie. Tommy does like a move to try to get her away from it. Lev shoots him in the leg. He falls. And Abby shoots him in the head. And this was one of the hardest parts of the game, because I thought they were going to like maybe give you a choice of who you were going to play as at this point, because I feel like it was all leading up to this point. But they didn't. You have to play as Abby. You're playing as Abby hunting down Ellie. So this scene is all about you playing as Ellie, or playing as Abby hunting down Ellie. And that was hard. But I got it. And it's so weird. Like, I understood it. but it was hard. I didn't want to do it at all. I was super pissed. I was super mad playing this because I'm just like, I don't want to play as Abby. I want to play as Ellie. I want to still play as Ellie. I still want to play as Ellie. I can tell you honestly at this point, I don't think I wanted to kill Abby anymore. Because I got it. I still didn't necessarily like her, but I did. I understood. I understood and I learned how important perspective can be and how important it is to understand what the other person and why. But I still didn't want to play as Abby. Like, I didn't want to do this scene as Abby. I wanted to do it as Ellie, but I couldn't. So you wind up doing this whole thing, and you beat the shit out of Ellie. And I'm talking beat the shit out of Ellie. And Dina runs in, saves Ellie, kind of, and Dina's pregnant. And Abby gets a hold of Dina, takes out a knife. Smashes Dina's head in, like, a few times. Doesn't kill her, but, like, hard. Knocks her out. Boom, boom. Puts a knife up to her. And Ellie's like, wait. She's pregnant. And Abby looks at Ellie with a knife to her throat. With a knife to Dina's throat. And says, good. And I thought she was going to do it. Right as she was about to do it, Lev, again, a kid, just says Abby. Stops her. Kind of brings her back. Abby goes over to Ellie and looks at her and says, it's something along the lines of, I don't ever want to see you again. Or if I ever see you again, I kill you. I don't remember that exact line, I'm sorry, but it was along the lines of, if I ever see you again, I'm going to kill you, more or less, right? And for that whole Seattle thing, I was kind of pissed. I'm not going to lie. I thought that was the end of the game. I was pissed. I was like, how are they going to end it like this? How is that going to be how this ends? This cannot end like this. I still want my revenge for Joel, but I don't know how I want it anymore. I wanted to just, but I don't know. Skip 2 years later. I'm assuming 2 years. I don't know if it told us that, but you're playing as Ellie again. You're in a house. You're with Dina, and you're with JJ, who I would assume is Jesse Jr. JJ, he seems about 2 years old. That's why I'm saying it's about 2 years, and I could be wrong. Or Ellie calls him Potato. The connection that they just have in this small little scene is crazy. So you play as those two, and you're Ellie, and you're just holding Potato, and you're just going around, just loving on Dina and doing, because Dina always talked about having a farm, having a house on the farm in a family. This is it. That's that life. They're having that life right now. That Seattle's over with. They have this life. And you're just living your best life at this point. You, Dina, and JJ. You, Dina, a child, a family. Jesse's child in remembrance of him. And you're raising them, and the settlement will send you letters telling you they want you back, but you're good with what you have. This is what you wanted. This is the life you want. You luckily got out of there alive. You escaped Seattle alive. Skip a little bit, not too far, like a couple days. Tommy shows up. Tommy's not dead. I could have sworn Tommy was dead. Tommy's not dead. Tommy shows up, and Tommy, I think he's blind. I couldn't tell. I was really looking at his eye here. I don't think he has an eye there. I think that's what happened with the bullet. So Tommy, this was almost, this is the only scene I think in the whole game that kind of bothered me, like in terms of out of characterness. Now I could be wrong. Tommy wants revenge. Tommy found a lead on where Abby's at. Tommy wants revenge. Tommy wants Ellie and him to go get revenge on Abby, or just him, or just Ellie, because he says he can't go. So wants Ellie, telling Ellie they got a lead on where Abby's at. And it was off the coast. It's basically where Owen wanted to go, right? She's chasing the lead that Owen wanted to go, where he heard about the Fireflies possibly being at. And Ellie tells him no, and Dina tells him, no, we're over this. Stop. We got out of there alive, essentially. Stop. This needs to stop. This whole revenge thing needs to stop. So you do that, and Tommy's pissed. Tommy's like, she made a promise. She said they'll pay. They'll pay for this. I'll make them pay. That was her words. She made a promise to me because he's kind of he left pissed off. Dina chased after her because he kind of said some things that pissed Dina off. So it's kind of like one of those things like, you can't talk to her that way. What the hell was that about? And he got up in her face like, she made a promise to me. She said she'll make them pay. And you're Ellie, and you're sitting there, and as the character, as me, as the player, I'm sitting there like thinking to myself like, I understand that we just need to leave it behind. Look, that whole thing was fucked, and we just need to leave it. We just need to leave it. But I still want, I still, as a player, I wanted a conversation between the two almost. I wanted Abby and Ellie to have a conversation. Skip a few days later. Ellie's packing her things. Ellie is packing her things to go seek out Abby. There's a lead. She wants to finish this. You, the player, you want to finish this. You want this resolved, and so does she. And Dina tells you that if you do this, I'm probably not going to be here. I'm not going to have this. I'm not doing this again. And Ellie's like, you don't have to do this again. I'm going to do this. So you, as Ellie, essentially you're choosing this revenge over Dina. You're choosing this revenge over her, and you're telling Dina that that's her choice, not yours. So you actually skip a little bit, you flip over and you play as Abby again. You got a call for, you found this house and there's a radio and there's a connection to the Fireflies, and you call them up and you find out that the Fireflies are real. They're there, and you go out and you get hit and you get ambushed by the Rattlers. That's their group. They're in this game for all of like 10 minutes, but they're called the Rattlers, and they essentially are slave hunters. They'll take any stragglers and make human slaves out of them, right? That's what they are. So you, as Abby, do get caught, and so does Lev, by these people. Skip into a few months later after that, as Ellie, you finally get to be, to this area. And keep in mind, throughout this whole journey, Ellie has this journal, and there are so many good entries in this journal just about Jesse, about Joel, Ellie contemplating whether her presence to Joel in his final moments was calming or not. Like, was it worse on him? Was it worse on Joel that she was there, or was it calming? Like, you get journal entries like that, like, and it's just shit that you just think about. So you finally, and again, I'm just gonna skip. So you, as Ellie, you get caught, kind of. You get caught by like a spring trap almost. Your feet get tied up in a rope. You go up into the tree, and she wound up swinging and smacking into the tree, and her side got impaled by the tree. And so she's really, really hurt. And it like skips a few moments later. She's bled everywhere. Honestly, I don't know how she didn't bleed out, but whatever. So classic Ellie fashion, the Rattlers come over talking about getting you down, to take you over to the prison camp and everything. Kind of say you might not be worth it because you're already super hurt. Well, Ellie being Ellie, smart ass that she is, they go over and she winds up just fucking them both up. Like, she just does. She's tied up, and the dude comes over because she's pissing him off, and she like takes out something, kills him real quick, pushes him into one of the infected close by, and you wind up getting out of it, right? And you wind up getting a lead about where Abby's at, because one of the guys who's alive, who's hurt, tells you where she's at, if you like, because like you have a gun to him, and in hopes that you'll spare his life. Well, you don't, because you don't. You're Ellie, again, seeking revenge. So you wind up going through this whole thing. And by the way, at this point, I can't believe there's still more game. Like, I didn't expect this whole last part of this whole game completely. I thought we were over. I thought when we got to the house and you're with Dina, everything was done. Like, I really did. Nope. So you go through here and you finally get to where she's at. And you finally, you get through the Rattlers, which was very difficult. It's almost like the hospital difficulty of this game, right? So you have the hospital scene in Last of Us 1, and it was pretty difficult. This is like that scene in The Last of Us 2, kind of that same concept. Super difficult area to get to the ending. Well, you wind up getting through them. You find the prisoners, And you unlock the prisoners, and Abby's not there, but you ask them where she's at, and they did find her, and they tell you she's up on like the rafter, the pillars. She's up on the pillars, and you go out there, and it's storming, by the way, super super storming, and you go out there, and this has been a few months since she's been captured, and she's sure as shit, there's Abby on one of the pillars, and you can tell instantly she's not doing very well. They're just like strung up on these pillars like this, just strung up. She's not nearly as big. Her hair is cut. You cut her down because she's still conscious. You cut her down. And before you cut her down, Abby recognizes you. She's like, it's you. You cut her down. And as Ellie, as the player, you don't do anything at that point. Abby gets up, instantly runs over to where Lev is, and cuts Lev down. Picks Lev up and kind of says there's boats over here to Ellie. Like, just kind of like nods that there's boats over here. So as the player, you're walking behind Abby. You finally found Abby. Ellie has finally found Abby. Ellie is finally able to get her revenge and to do the thing she set out for. You're finally at that moment that you can get that closure that you always wanted for Joel. And there's 2 boats. And it's storming. And you're letting Abby put Lev on the boat. And you basically tell Abby, we are going to end this right here, right now. And Abby refuses. Abby says, I'm not going to fight you. Abby, I don't know if so much has moved on from it. I mean, I would assume so, that whole thing. But Abby is almost, she cares about Lev. And her priority at this point is Lev. Not revenge, survival, and Lev. She doesn't want to fight. Ellie puts a knife to Lev. Because Ellie says, if you won't fight me, I will make you fight me. At that point, Abby agrees. And it is a fight. You're in the water. Punches are getting thrown. Knives. Just slicing up Abby. Fights. Punches. I mean, just hardcore. And eventually Ellie gets the upper hand. And Ellie is, because remember, Abby isn't as big. She's not like an ox like she was. She has definitely lost a lot of weight. She's lost a lot of muscle mass. And Ellie is just drowning Abby. And I'm not sure Lev could see it happening. I think he was like unconscious in the boat because it never once like panned over to him. But Ellie's just like drowning her. And as a player, I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want that. It was so hard for me at that point now to play as Ellie beating the shit out of Abby. I was okay at that point of just letting Abby go and just being fine. I wanted a conversation between the two. I really did. We didn't get that. But I was okay with Abby going. Me. But Ellie wasn't. Ellie was not. I saw the perspective. I saw what happened. I understood Abby at that point. I know why she did what she did. I don't accept it. I don't agree to it. And I hate it so freaking much. But I understood it. And Ellie didn't, because Ellie didn't see that. Ellie couldn't see that because Ellie isn't a player. You just can't. I wanted a conversation between the two. I wanted there to be that. I wanted Abby to explain why, and I wanted Ellie to explain why Joel. I wanted that to happen. We didn't get that because that wasn't the time. There was no time for that. There was never going to be time for that. This was Ellie's chance to get her revenge for Joel, to put a closure to that. And you're sitting there as the player beating the shit out of Abby and finally drowning her. You are killing her with your bare hands. You are killing Abby. And she's about to die. And all of a sudden, you get a flashback. And it's just a quick flash. It's the quickest thing ever. It's just Joel sitting on a chair in the night with his guitar. That's it. And you stop. You stop. You let Abby go. And you say, take him and get out of here. Just take him and get out of here. And you let him go. And I was so relieved. I felt so relieved. It's almost like I got what I wanted, but I didn't have to murder for. I didn't have to. it was the weirdest feeling in the world because I'm getting revenge for Joel. Ellie's getting revenge for Joel, and I understand why. I get it, but I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want that anymore, and so I'm happy she lived. And Ellie's just kind of sitting there in the water. Winds up going back to the farmhouse in the middle. She gets there at night. Everything's packed up. Everything's gone. Dina has left. She's taken JJ, assuming they went to the settlement. That's what the assumption would be, at least on my end. Went back to the settlement because, again, they wanted you back. You finally see the rest of that cutscene. That flashback that brought Ellie back, that made Ellie stop. That flashback, that thought, is why Ellie stopped killing Abby. This is probably, and I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it, one of the most important cutscenes and one of the most heartfelt moments in a video game I have ever experienced. You're playing as Joel, or you're playing as Ellie, or it's just a cutscene. You're not playing as anybody. But Ellie walks up to Joel. And there was a whole scene about Ellie and Dina having a kiss on a party, and Ellie or this older gentleman got really mad because they kissed, right? And they called him a dyke. And Joel got into his face and said that, and was probably about to destroy him, and get pissed off. And this is all happening after that conversation that those two had about how Ellie's done with Joel because he lied, because of what he did. He took her meaning away from her. And so he's trying to stand up for Ellie, and Ellie basically told him, why? Stop. I don't need you. We're done. You know this. So after all that, you get to this cutscene. And Joel's just sitting there playing guitar. And Ellie comes up. And you don't know what's happening. And you assume it's just going to be about what happened, what transpired at that dance. And that got brought up. But then Ellie's just like, damn it, Joel. You took my meaning away. Basically, I was the cure, and I could have helped, but you took that away from me. And Joel doesn't say a lot. He's just kind of sitting there, like arms against like the wooden railing, and just like, if essentially by the grace of God, I had the ability to go back during that moment, I would do it all over again. Essentially stating that he's not sorry for what he did, because she means the world to him. At this point, Ellie is the world to him. He would do anything for her. And Ellie kind of just looked at him and was looking down and was just like, I don't know if I can ever forgive you for that. And he kind of just like shakes his head, like he kind of understands, he gets it. But then she's like, but I'd like to try. And that hit so fucking hard, because that meant so much to me. Because to me, that means her last memory of him wasn't of anger. It was of trying to rebuild the relationship that they had. And it hits twice as hard when you realize they never had a chance for that to happen. Ellie, that chance was stolen from them because of what Abby did. They were going to try to reconnect and get better and mend their relationship as best they can. Try to, at least. There was something. And Joel was so happy. And like, it wasn't like a super, but you could just see it. And you can tell how much that one sentence meant to him. Because she was everything to him. Everything at that point. And it just felt so I want to say good. I don't know what the words to say are. It just felt something. It felt relief, good, super sad because you know that they didn't get that chance, but damn it, at least that was there. It was something. It made me feel so much better. And at the same and I was so mad again because they didn't get that chance, but I was so happy that they didn't end because they didn't even get to say goodbye to each other. But it didn't end with a complete and utter tainted memory. And that's why she let Abby go. That is why she let Abby go. In my opinion, I could be completely wrong on 90% of this. Everyone can form their own opinions, and that is perfectly fine. But that is why she let Abby go. She let Abby go because the whole game, their whole life, their whole thing, Joel's whole thing was about revenge, was about doing what you have to do to survive no matter what the cost. Doing what you had to do no matter what. Killing if need be, doesn't matter. And at that moment, Ellie was able to forgive Abby. Maybe not forgive, maybe that's a bad word for it, but was able to let it go. Was able to stop the revenge. Instead of revenge, she put her revenge aside. Whether it was for Joel, for the memory of Joel, I don't know. I'd like to think so, but I believe that is 100% why she let Abby live. And I was so happy. I was so relieved. The game made me go from hating somebody more than I hated a lot of people, wanting to kill somebody in a game, of course, because of what they did to somebody who I did not think deserved. I mean, I get it. I got it even before, like, because look, he did kill a lot of people, but I had to watch one of my favorite game characters die brutally, and I wanted nothing more than to destroy her myself, to seeing the other side more than any other game has ever done, giving me making known how important perspective is, and seeing things from another person's angle. That doesn't always mean that person's right. It doesn't. And you might not think Abby was right in killing Joel. I don't necessarily think Abby was right in killing Joel, but I understand it. I know why she did it. She did it for the exact same reason I set out to kill her. The exact same reason. You can't hate Abby for doing the same thing that Ellie is set out to do. I mean, you can. That's your choice, of course. But I can't. I can't do that because that's what happened. I've talked for like an hour and I did not expect this to be this long. I thought this was going to be like a 20-minute thing. But Naughty Dog, well done. This is the first time I got to talk about my thoughts of the game out loud, like to anybody. And I mean, you literally, this video is the first time I've ever talked about this game out loud. So I know it was kind of scatterbrained and it was kind of everywhere. I tried to keep it in as best I can. I just let my mind go. You guys did so good. The game was phenomenal. And I'm not here to talk about gameplay and stuff like that. It's not what this was about. This was strictly about story and how I felt about that. So thank you, first of all, for this absolute roller coaster, glorious story that I got to go on. Because I hated you there were times I hated. I was so mad when I went back and played as Abby. As like Abby for the second part. I was so mad. I was stone faced, pissed off, walking as Abby, doing things as Abby. Because I didn't want to be Abby. I wanted to kill Abby. I didn't want to have anything to do with that. This is bullshit. Why are they making me play as this person? And then you learn. You learn about Owen. You learn about the other people, her friends, their people, living just like you, just like Ellie. Just like Joel, just like Tommy, doing what they have to do to survive. They don't like bullshit. There's some bullshit out there. They're not about that. But Abby wanted revenge for the death of her father. I don't even think it's so much about the cure. Actually, I'm 90% sure the cure, especially in Abby's mind, no one cared. That was not. But this guy killed her dad. She didn't know who Joel was. She didn't know what Joel meant to Ellie. She didn't know that feeling. That was me. I knew that. She didn't know that. She just knew some guy went in there and killed her dad. And she wanted revenge for that. Just like you, just like me. I wanted revenge for Joel. Same. It's the same. So yeah. Those are my thoughts. It has to be the best game series, like, story-wise, that I've ever played. To have two stories that go that well. Like, thank you. I don't know what else to say other than thank you for the feel. Like, it has made me think so much more about the other perspective of people. Like, I've always tried to be someone who looks at things from other ways, looks at things from other angles. I really do try to be that way. But this just throws it into overdrive of how important that can be. Like, I still wish they would have just had a conversation, but I get it. Maybe next time. So, if you're out there watching, anything you want to discuss about it, please put in the comments sections here. I believe this is going to go on YouTube. I think that's the idea right now. If you disagree with me wholeheartedly, that's fine. You know, that's my favorite part about that. I actually got into because we couldn't talk about it, spoilers, but in this one thing, so I didn't get to talk about how I felt about everything. But I've seen how people have different opinions on the game, and that's fine. That's okay. I can see where tons of controversy will be. I know people just hate Abby no matter what. Just no matter what, period. Don't even care about her side of the story. Doesn't care. Hates her, and that's fine. You can have that opinion. But talk to us about it down there. Let us know your comments. Thank you for hearing me out. Thank you for just listening. Thank you for letting me be able to just talk about it. Because I just needed to. I still haven't, as I'm making this video, I have no one to talk about it with in person, and I'm the only one I know that's beaten it. So just gave me that chance. Thanks, guys. Thanks for letting me do this, and thanks for listening. You guys are awesome, great, and I'll talk to you later.